to go. So we have a choice, don't we? Where are we now? 30. Yeah, Esau's descendants. Good evening, guys. Good evening, girls. I hope you're doing well. I thought I'd do a live stream today because I did say yesterday that I was going to do one every day for the rest of the month, every weekday. And I didn't want to fall down on the very first day, and that was going to happen. And I'm so happy that I've been able to prevent that. Thank you for joining me. If you're live, it's just so good to see you. If you're watching the stream afterwards, it's a blessing for me. I'm so happy to be up here this morning. For me, it's the 14th of March, 2026. I wanted to start this on the 13th, which was Friday, but things happen. But I'm here now. And it counts as one of the days for every day. So that makes me happy. That's for you. That's a clap of celebration, a clap of joy that we're here together to share the word of God and also to have general conversation. Please feel free to join the chat, say anything in chat, or not say anything, but just say something related, ask a question, or join into the conversation. I don't know why, I just feel a little bit hyped up right now. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I do apologize for my stream yesterday. It was I got the pictures, the lighting all wrong. And there was something wrong with my sound as well. So that's what was taking a bit of my time just to try and get it fixed. So I'm hoping that everything now is working the way that it should be. And, so you're getting a good picture and the sound's great. I didn't really have anything really structured for today, but I did just want to continue. I say that, then I say I did just want to continue. But I was thinking of continuing Genesis, part of the Bible study, and just having like a general chat, about the word. I don't want to get too political on this show. There's so much going on and there's so many things that can just remove one's focus or one's concentration from the word. So I don't really want to get too political, but I just like to stick to the word of God. I'm hoping that at some point that come in a few weeks' time, or whatever, maybe, but I think it's just really good to stick to the word of God and to focus on that, because if one doesn't do that, one can easily just start slipping into general conversations that don't really mean much. So, Genesis, as I said, I'm trying to continue this series and read through the first 5 books. And just take it from there, really. So why don't we because currently we're on chapter 36. And how many chapters are there in Genesis? I actually think I'm going to be able to roll this up in a few days because there's 50 chapters and we're currently on chapter 36. So I don't think we're doing too badly, to be totally honest. So what I tend to do if you're joining me for the first time is that I'm just going to read through the, this is the ESV version, by the way. So I'm just going to read through the chapter. And if there's any place that I feel is interesting or that needs to be commented on further, I will do that. And as I said earlier on, feel free to ask any questions in chat or just participate. You know, let's keep things rolling. We're all part of a family here, family who wants to talk about the Word of God and who wants to understand it further. So in that sense, we're all learning together. But yeah, so if there's a question, anything, please join in through chat. Right, chapter 36. I hope you can see that. Actually, why don't I just bring it up on screen? That might be better. Where are we? Here we go. Chapter 36. Esau's descendants. These are the generations of Esau. That is Edom. Remember, I did do a little presentation on Esau and Keturah. That's available on YouTube now, but unfortunately Twitch has deleted that video. But if you just look around my page, you see my YouTube link, just go to that. Why I done that was because there's quite a lot's been said about, well, I had noticed quite a lot had been said about Esau, aka Edom, and Keturah. But when you look in the Bible, there's not much said about Keturah there, apart from her 5 sons, or was it 6 sons? And we do know that she was a concubine of Abraham's, I believe. Was Abraham? Yes, she was a concubine of Abraham. So, but when I went onto YouTube, there was quite a lot of videos about her. It's like people had a lot of things to say about her, but I didn't know where they were getting this information from. So when I looked into the Bible, as I said, she wasn't there much, but there is a mention of her sons by their names and by their descendants. When I looked into the Apocrypha, there was a little bit said about her there, but not that much. So I just generally wondered where they were getting this information from. And also, I did notice as well that the information on Edom was quite negative. And people seem to have been able to have traced his descent to present day, and they refer to a certain group of people as Edomites. But I couldn't find any references to these people there, although I only read up to Genesis before I done a video on Edom. So I do know that there's quite a bit more said about the Edomites later on in the Bible, especially when the Israelites came back from Egypt. So, but from what I had read, I think it was a reasonably good summary. And despite what the activities of the Edomites were before and after the Hebrews or the Israelites came back from Egypt, I did find a section where God did tell, it's in Deuteronomy, and God told the Israelites not to hate the people of Edom because in effect they were their brothers. And after the 3rd generation, I presume, of the Edomites living amongst the Israelites, the Lord said they will also become his people. So that was my understanding. That's what I read. So I couldn't really connect the dots to where other people had located or had assumed who the present day Edomites were, and were making that kind of general commentary. I wasn't able to find that information that they were talking about, but I probably need to read further. But then I also stress that there's also a section in the Bible, and I will try and have a look for it. But if you go to my YouTube channel, and if you watch that video, it's in the description. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. And we are told that in the New Testament, in 2 separate books, that you should not be concerning yourself about various generations, that you shouldn't be tracing people from biblical times to present day, because this is according to what the Bible says. It's a waste of time and it leads to vain babblings. So in effect, I know there's a historical context to everything, but from my understanding, what the Bible is telling us, look, focus on the Word of God. Don't focus on generational, or who's this and who's that, or who's part of this generation, who's part of that generation. It's a waste of time, and it removes you from the focus of what you should be focusing on, is in actually worshipping the Lord, worshipping the real God, the only God, and obeying His commandments. Because these things can take up so much of one's time that one just loses focus. That's why I said initially that, look, I don't want to get political, because one could just lose focus and get drawn into an argument that wouldn't lead to anything, because I don't hold any political power. I cannot influence the leaders of any country. Okay, they won't be listening to what I have to say. In fact, I assume most of them, if not all of them, will be in opposition to the Word of God, even though they might stress God in every other word that they say. And I'm talking about the God of the Bible. So if one's not in a position to change anything and the information is out there, why spend your time discussing it? But one thing I would say, it's good to know what is happening around you. It's good to know what is happening in your world. Now, we can't walk around in ignorance. So it's very important to know, to be informative, to seek out information, and to at least know the news, even if it's just in your local area. But after that, why spend so much time discussing it? The politicians don't listen to us. And as many people have said, there might be 2 or 3 parties, but they're all going for the same objective. They just kind of go through different routes to get there. So that's why we have to, just in my understanding, just focus on the true word of the Lord. Right. So let's roll on with chapter 36. These are the generations of Esau, that is Edom. Esau took his wives from the Canaanites. Ada, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite, Oholibamah. Now let me get this right. Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon, the Hivite, and Bashmath, Ishmael's daughter, the sister of Nebaioth. And Ada bore to Esau Eliphaz. Basemath bore Reuel, and Oholibamah bore Jeshu, Jalam, and Korah. I'm murdering some of these names. These are the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Then Esau took his wives, his son and daughters, and all the members of his household, his livestock, all his beasts, and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan. He went into a land away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. The land of their sojournings could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in the hill country of Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau; Ruel, the son of Basemath, the wife of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Timah was the concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son. She bore Amalek to Eliphaz. Now, that name, Amalek, that's been used quite a lot. Well, we're going to get a bit political. But that name, Amalek, has been used quite a lot, hasn't it? Especially by Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. So it's interesting to know that Amalek was a descendant of Esau. We might come across that name again. I don't remember the context. I do remember the context that it is being used in present day, which means to destroy everything. So, but I never knew Amalek was a descendant of Esau, technically, an Edomite. I never knew that. So obviously there were some disputes between the Israelites and the Amalekites. I assume that's what they were called at some point. So that's kind of interesting. I did not know that. Amalek to Eliphaz. These are the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. We're on verse 13 now. These are the sons of Reuel, Nahath, Zerah, Sama, and Mizah. These are the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. She bore Esau, Jehush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the chiefs of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, and the firstborn of Esau, the chiefs of Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. These are the chiefs of Eliphaz. In the land of Edom, these are the sons of Ada. These are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son, and chiefs Nathan, Zerah, Sama, and Mizah. These are the chiefs of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife, the chiefs of Jehush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the chiefs born of Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, that is Edom, and these are their chiefs. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, the inhabitants of the land: Lothan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs of the Horites, and the sons of Seir in the land of Edom. The sons of Lothan were Hori and Heman. Lothan's sister was Timah. These are the sons of Shobal, Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shephor, and Onam. These are the sons of Zibeon, Ahah, and Anna. He is the Anna who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he pastured the donkeys of Zibeon, his father. These are the children of Anna, Dishon, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna. These are the sons of Dishon, Hemdan, Esban, Itharan, and Chiran. These are the sons of Ezer, Bilhan, Zavan, and Achan. These are the sons of Akan. That's interesting. I do know there is an ethnic group in Ghana called Akan. Interesting. I'm sure they probably found that out for themselves. I never used to pay much attention to all of these names, but what I have found, funny enough, through reading Genesis in this series that I'm doing, is that these names kind of pop up again in the Old Testament. So there's a relevance to it because it traces the descendants and the relationships they have, if any, to the core characters in the Old Testament. So, and also some of these names still do pop up in present day through, as I just mentioned, Akan, and in other places too. Like, I know there's Ashkenaz that does pop up as a descendant group of Japheth, one of the sons of Noah. So these things do crop up. It's kind of interesting to discover that, oh, that name is related to such and such. So it is kind of relevant, even for today. We're on verse 30, I think, but let's start from there. Dishon, Ezer, and it's Akan. So we're on verse 28. These are the sons of Dishan, Uz, and Aran. These are the chiefs of the Horites. The chiefs Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna. Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs of the Horites, chief by chief in the land of Seir. Wow. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, the name of his city being Dinhabah. Bela died, and Joab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his place. Jobab died, and Husham of the land of the Temites reigned in his place. Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the country of Moab. Midian also pops up again from memory when Moses left Egypt, when he ran away because he killed an Egyptian. And I think he ran away or escaped, for want of a better word, to, was it Midian? I believe so, but we're going to come to that. And I recollect one of the main men in the town of Midian, his daughters were at a well, and I think Moses fetched water for them, and they described him as an Egyptian. So, and we know that Midian was one of, that name originates, if my memory hasn't failed me, from one of Keturah's sons or grandsons. One of them was known as Midian, if my memory has not failed me. So, as I said, it's all kind of related. It's all there. It's all very interesting stuff. We're on verse 35. Midian in the country of Moab reigned in his place, and the name of his city being Avith. Hadad died, and Samlah of the Masrekah reigned in his place. Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth on the Euphrates reigned in his place. Shaul died, and Balahan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his place. Balhanan, the son of Akbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his place. The name of his city being Por. His wife's name was Methabel, and the daughter of Matred, daughter of Mezahab. These are the names of the chiefs of Esau, according to their clans and their dwelling, places by their names, the chiefs Timah, Alva, Jetheth, Ohalibama, Ella, Pinon, Kenaz, Teman, and Mibzar. It's interesting though, these aren't very common biblical names. You don't really hear many people answering these names, do you? Because I only found out recently that Candace was actually a biblical name, and I also found out that Elon is a biblical name as well. But a lot of the names that I've just read through, they're not commonly answered by people these days. I wonder if it's because they're, from an English perspective, kind of hard to pronounce, or it just doesn't flow off of the tongue. That might have something to do with it. Because I found that the ones that do flow, like Candace is, I think I've forgotten who Candace was in the Bible, but it kind of flows, isn't it, for an English speaker? So I think those names are popular from an English-speaking perspective. But the names that I've read out, they might be popular in a non-English-speaking world. So, but I just haven't heard of many of them. Magdiel and Aram, these are the chiefs of Edom, that is Esau, the father of Edom, according to their dwelling places in the land of their possession. Well, I suppose the fact that they named all these descendants of Esau means that, as you know, he was after all a child of Jacob, a child of Isaac. I do apologize. A full brother, a twin brother, actually, to Jacob. So I think by naming his descendants the way that they have been named signifies his importance in the story. Jacob's, I don't like reading those mini chapters. Chapter 37, Genesis. Jacob lived in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Oh yeah, just one thing, one similarity, because there are kind of similarities. We are told that Esau and Jacob had to split because of their possessions, and the size of their families meant that they couldn't stay together in one place. And that was the same story that we had with Abraham and his nephew Lot. Because individually they both grew so big, they couldn't stay in the same place because there were arguments taking place between their various sheep wearers, or between their servants and stuff like that, over land and water and all that kind of stuff. So kind of similar here, that Jacob and Esau had to split and go their separate ways as well. These are the chapter 2, verse 2 rather. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was pasturing the flock with his brothers. He was a boy with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives. Also, they're termed his father's wives now. They generally termed his father's concubines, or the servants of Leah and Rachel, yes, okay, his father's wives, fair enough. And Joseph bought a bad, oh yeah, because Rachel, his mother, is now dead. Right, okay. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to their father. Oh, okay, those are his brothers. Yep, gotcha. Let me just read that again. Jacob lived in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was pasturing the flock with his brothers. He was a boy with the sons of Bela and Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to their father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any other of his sons because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a robe of many colors. That's kind of interesting because Jacob was 77 when he went to his uncle's house, Laban. And he started having his kids soon after. So he was an old man then. So, you know what I mean? But yes, he's a lot older now, but he was an old man then. I mean, he didn't get married till he was 77 years old. And he made him a robe of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. Yeah, I think it's always, from my experience, just by observation and living life, it's always good for a parent to hide their love if they have a favorite. Hide it in a sense that they shouldn't make it so obvious to the favorite siblings because that it will always result in jealousy. You know, tip, treat all your children equally and don't favor one over the other. And if you do, don't make it obvious to their siblings because it's only going to result in jealousy, hate, and what's the word when there's a family and infighting? You know, you don't want that to be in your household. You know, so pro tip, that's what I was thinking about. Treat all your children equally, at least in the presence of them all. If you do want something for one, you have to do the same thing for the other. If you pay for the wedding of one child, you've got to pay for the wedding of all of them. If you pay their school fees, you've got to pay the school fees for all of them. If you buy one a bike, you've got to get a bike for the other one. You know, like that. Just keep it even, keep it sweet, and you'll be happy. Verse 5, now Joseph had a dream. And when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. Gosh, human nature. Nothing's changed over the years. Nothing's changed over the millennia. Nothing has changed. Nothing between us humans. He said to them, hear this dream that I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf arose. I'll show you one trick about this, because I must admit, let's say we wanted to know what sheaves meant. We could go dictionary. Plural form of sheaf. The biblical name of Saba in southwest Arabia The Queen of Sheba visited King Solomon in Jerusalem. Da 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 da. Right. So what's the singular sheaf mean? Oh, I outdone myself there. Dictionary. I actually don't know what sheaf means, but it's not taking me there. So fair enough. But I just wanted to show you the resources that I am using, because this Kindle version is the Kindle version of this study Bible that I'm using. The reason why I have two versions of it is because I think it's good to have a digital version, because you can pull it on your phone, carry it back with you, because this would be a bit of a load to carry, on a train or when one's going to work or wherever you're going, if you just wanted to refer or read the Bible. And two, I wouldn't really want to rely on just on a digital version. And thirdly, it's good to have both, related to the second reason, because you can always refer to the paper version that cannot really be tampered with once you've purchased it. These digital versions now, who knows what happens to it when you're not looking at it. It could be played around with. I'm not a Luddite. I'm just saying, because digital versions of things can be changed, but at least the paper version is a version that one can rely on. Okay, so, and they all both have different uses as well, so they complement each other. So if there's an option for you to purchase the digital version of your Bible, do that. It will come in handy. And just like I tried to do there, you can always look up various words, but I've just found something now. There's sheaf here. So let's see what sheaf means. A bundle of grain, stalks laid lengthways and tied together after reaping. Well, that's great. Second definition, a bundle of objects of a kind, especially papers. He waved a sheaf of papers in the air. That makes sense now. The name, that word, that sounds familiar. A verb with objectives. I don't know what OBJ is. I've forgotten. Bundle into sheaves. The corn and barley had to be sheathed and stocked. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that, because these are the benefits really of having an electronic version. But a better thing to do, and another interesting item that one should always have as a tool for Bible study, is Strong's. Strong's always comes in handy, and I will rely on Strong's better than any electronic version of anything. So let's just have a bit of fun and see what sheaf means in Strong's. What we do, find out what sheaf is. So we go element. I'm hoping because this version is for the King James version of the Bible. I think most Strongs refer to the King James version, and I'm risking it here because the word sheaf might not be in the King James version, but we're going to soon find out. SHEAF. Here we go. Can you see that? Let me just zoom into that. Oh, there it is. So we're looking for sheaf in Genesis. And it says 485. So this would be 485 in Hebrews. Okay, so let's go to 485. Oh, way ahead there. You know, when you're under pressure, when people are watching you, things don't go as smoothly as they normally do. And I'm experiencing that now, and I have no idea why. Here it is. So we have the, I wonder if you can see it here. Where are we? Oh, let me just clear this for you. There we go, 405. So we got alumo or alum, olum. Past participle of 481, something bound, a sheaf. There you go. You see that? So I must admit, I do have a lot more fun working my way through Strong's than looking it up in a digital version. It's physical. You can touch it. You can feel it. I feel like I'm learning something. I feel like I'm involved. It's the same definition, but it's more fun, you know? So, and just like any electronic thing, it can be played and manipulated with, you know? We can be deceived. And I know one might think, what is he talking about? But, you know, we can be. You know, so it's always good. These are my resources. And I also have this. I'm going to have to zoom out of that. Let me just zoom out. A lot of people say, oh, there's no need to know what the Apocrypha says. But I think it's important. I think it's good to have these things handy. Now, I think it's good to know what's going on. It's good to be able to refer and to check stories out and to compare notes. So I just thought I'll show you that, show you what my resources are. And so these are generally, I do also have a copy of the King James Version of the Bible, which is my go-to be honest, but I don't use it now because it's Old English. I slip up when I'm reading it out loud, and I want people to understand what I'm saying. So rather than think about, whatever, is it 1640, 1740 English? Let's use a modern version of the language. Right, in that case, let's go to the Kindle. Joseph had a dream. My sheaf arose and stood upright, and behold, your sheaves gathered around it, and bowed down to my sheaf. His brothers said to him, are you indeed to reign over us? Or are you indeed to rule over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Then he dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers and said, behold, I have dreamed another dream. Behold, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me. But when he told it to his father and to his brothers, his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you? Jacob's mother is dead at this point. Sorry, Joseph's mother has since died. And his brothers were jealous of him But his father kept the saying in mind. Now his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem, and Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." And he said to him, "Here I am." So he said to him, "Go now, see if it is well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word." So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem, and the man found him wandering in the field. And the man asked him, "What are you seeking?" "I am seeking my brothers," he said. "Tell me, please, where they are pasturing the flock." And the man said, "They have gone away, for I heard them say, 'Let us go.'" Dothan. So Joseph went. Oh, sorry, let us go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Oh, wow. They saw him from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. My gosh, you see, nothing's changed, guys. Nothing's changed. It's just like Cain and Abel. I mean, if you can't trust your brother or brothers in Joseph's sense, who can you trust? But then again, it's your family that has access to you because of the relationship. And it's your brother who's very likely to what? Stab you in your back, because you would allow him to stand behind you just because of the relationship you have with him. And especially somebody like Joseph, he was totally unaware of the hate that his brothers had for him. He was just telling them his dreams. Innocently. He didn't mean any negativity by it. He was just telling them what he dreamt. Probably understandable that his father rebuked him, but so it's like the situation between Cain and Abel is repeating itself. Okay? And these, especially with the sons of Israel, they're all blessed by the Lord. They've been set aside by the Lord to be his people. You see, and even amongst that group of people who have all been blessed, there's still jealousy, there's still infighting, negativity. For what? Imagine if you're amongst a group of, say, 12 people, and God has blessed all of you and said to your father, "You will be the progenitor of my people who I have put aside from the rest of the people in the world." What is there to be jealous about between yourselves? Okay? So, the last time I'd done just a general conversation, which is still available on Twitch as at the 14th of March, I did read the 10 Commandments. And in one of them, if you remember, we saw "Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal," and there's other ones as well. I'm sorry I've forgotten them, but I did read them out. The only reason why I'm stressing these out is because, from my understanding, is that the commandments, well, it happened, are for the Israelites, for them to adhere to amongst themselves as a group that had all been blessed by the Lord and who had all been set aside as his people. And they all knew this. But the Lord still gave them commandments that they should follow. You see, so sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, we have to be conscious of the influence of things like envy, jealousy, and hate, because they can motivate us as it motivated Cain, and as it's going to motivate Joseph's brothers to do something that you shouldn't really be doing, to do something that is hateful, to commit a crime like murder. Okay, so I just wanted to stress that, because these things, they were repeating themselves then, and they are repeating themselves now. Okay, I mean, if somebody hates you, you should stay away from them, because you don't know what they might do. But this is going out to the person that is doing the hate. Why are you hating? What's the benefit there? Okay, so yeah, I just thought I'd just stress that. So let's see what goes on in this story. Verse 20, come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams. Wow, what terrible words to say about your own brother. But when Reuben heard it, he rescued him out of their hands, saying, let us not take his life. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood, throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hand to restore him to his father. What does that mean? Did they jump something there? Okay, fair enough. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore. And they took him and threw him into a pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat. And looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming. So those are the descendants of Ishmael. And Ishmael was, who is he, Ishmael again? Was he not a son of Abraham? Yes. Wasn't it Ishmael and Isaac, I believe? So those would be their, I can't get it now, cousins in some way. Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, when their camels bearing gum, balm, and myrrh, on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, what profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh. And his brothers listened to him. Then Midianites, see, they're all related, aren't they? In some way, they are all related. Because Midian was one of Keturah's sons. The Midianite traders passed by, and they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. They took Joseph to Egypt. When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit, he tore his clothes and returned to his brothers and said, the boy is gone, and where shall I go? Then they took Joseph's robe and slaughtered a goat and dipped the robe in the blood. And they sent the robe of many colors and brought it to their father and said, This we have found. Please identify whether it is your son's robe or not. And he identified it and said, it is my son's robe. A fierce animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his garments and put sackcloth on his loins and mourned his son many days. And mourned for his son many days. All his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted and said, no, I shall go down to Sheol to my son's mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. I never thought I'd read this far, but it's getting really interesting. There was something that took my attention. That's why I kind of paused. It was, well, I think I mentioned it. I suppose they are in Canaan, and Ishmael did marry 2 Canaanite women, I believe. Yes. No, Esau did, but Ishmael probably did as well. Yeah, he did. So that's how the names or the descendants of these people come in handy, as we discussed earlier, because you can see now that they are all related, you know. So, which is interesting. But as you know, Jacob's, also known as Israel, the Lord has specifically said, you are my people. And that's where his people will derive from Jacob's seed, who is a descendant of who? Shem. Noah's son, Shem. That's the lineage that he comes from. Okay, so yeah, that was kind of interesting. I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that. Wow, I really enjoyed that. It's interesting because I went to a Christian primary school, also termed as elementary school, and as part of the curricula was Bible study, and that entailed the teacher reading portions of the Bible to us on like a bi-weekly basis. And we also had to pray in assembly in the morning every day, the Lord's Prayer, and we also sung hymns. And as a child, I also used to take myself to church, because one was just literally opposite my house. And it was a Baptist church, I think it was. It's still there, actually, after all these years. It's still there. And it's funny, it's interesting, because as a child, when you learn things through rote, it sticks. Okay? So as I said, we used to pray the Lord's Prayer every morning in assembly. And I just knew the Lord's Prayer, because I'd been repeating it for many years. And I had an idea of the Bible story, but I also had a children's Bible. So I remember being in bed just before I went to sleep, and I'd be reading it for fun. And I just had that interest in the words. So I've read this bit a number of times. But for me, from the age of about 10, 11, I never read the Bible again till many, 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 many years later. But certain things stuck with me rather, which was the Lord's Prayer. And I always had a feeling that I was surrounded by negativity, and that the only reason why I was alive was because the Lord specifically wanted me to be alive, and He was looking after me. That's how I felt inside. So although I never went to church, I never prayed, but my mind was pure, and I believed in God, but I didn't believe in the church. I thought, well, what's going on there? But I paid attention to it. So it wasn't till many, many years later, after the age of about 13 or 14, that I came to reading the Bible again. I got closer to the Lord. But it's very interesting when you learn these things, especially the Bible story and how to pray when you're young, because it's as if you're being prepared spiritually to face the world. Because not only do we need an academic education, I also believe that we need a spiritual education as well, because we live in a spiritual world. Okay? We don't see it, but we do live in a spiritual world, and not everything that influences our lives is physical. You know, there's a spiritual dimension as well. And obviously, if you believe in God, God is a spirit. And as you know, Satan is one of God's angels. He also is a spirit. And these things influence us, you see. So when you have that basic foundation as a child, when you know the Bible story, when you know how to pray, and when you understand spirituality in your way as a child, I think you do have an advantage in life, because you can pull on those resources whenever you need them, because it's been implanted into you. That what just went out there? I don't know, something just happened. Anyway, so it's been implanted into, oh yes, that's what happened. One of my lights went out. It's been implanted into you. And, you know, it's interesting. Just give me a second, please. Yeah, it's amazing when that happens. Yeah, so you do, I feel, it's always nice to have that spiritual background as a child. It does give you a bit of an advantage, in a sense that you might just be in a situation where you just say, I just need to pray. You know, and you know what to say, because there's nothing like the Lord's Prayer. It covers everything. I'm going to do, in my early days on Twitch, I did do a video on the Lord's Prayer and how to pray. So it's a bit old now, and it was probably a bit rudimentary at that time that I'd done it, because I only just started and I wasn't being very consistent with my my presentation. So yeah, I'll probably play that back one day or do another video, because it's very, Well, the Lord does tell us how to pray in the Bible. It tells us how to pray and even gives us the model prayer to pray. And I'm not being critical, but I'm just saying what I've seen. And when you do see people, when you do see people just on like YouTube praying, it's very different from what the Lord has guided us on how to pray. There's just no comparison to it. It's just out there, and then you kind of wonder to yourself, well, listen, who are these people praying to? Are they praying to God or are they praying to something else? Because they're not following the guidance that the Lord has told them. They're just taking it to a level that it's hard for me to explain it. You just see it for yourself. So so you probably, it's good to know about that. So, well, thank you for being part of this presentation today. I wish you all the best of the rest of the day. And I do intend to, if possible, do another live stream later on today. I know today is a Sabbath day or a rest day for many people, and it's a rest day for me as well, where I just like to rest on a Saturday. But I might find the time to also do a live stream as well. So thank you for joining me today. It's been great having you here. And I look forward to my next live stream, and I hope that you'll be there as well. Take care now, and no doubt speak to you soon.